John Moore interview for the Gatherin, County Louth, 2013. My name is John Moore. I grew up in Dundalk in County Louth. I'm talking to you from Hollywood, Los Angeles, California. I was born in County Louth in 1970. I grew up in Dundalk. I spent the first 10 or 11 years of my life in Cox's Domain. I went to school in the Redeemer Boys National School. I met one of the first big influences of my life at school there. A teacher, Tom Murphy, was the school photographer. And I remember Tom used to have a lot of equipment, and I was fascinated by his equipment. And he taught me the basics of film cameras and how they worked, and the basics of light measurements, and that always stuck with me. And I owe Tom a big debt of gratitude, because without his patience and his brilliance as a teacher, I don't think I'd have gotten anywhere in this career. But I left Cox's Domain and moved to the Point Road, I think in 1982 or 3. An older part of the town, right on the river, a more scenic part of the town. Right in front of us, you have the beautiful view of the Cooley Mountains, the Carlingford Peninsula. You got the Navy Bank, of course, beautiful walk right in front of our house there in St. Clement's Park, which used to be my father's mother's house. So the house goes back a long way in the family. And, it was a great place to grow up as a kid, because there was nowhere near the amount of residential property there is there now. And we grew up, it was wild, mostly farmland. And of course the river was a huge source of fun for kids. We were constantly building makeshift boats and rafts and trying to sail off halfway around the world. It was Dundalk always has been a great place for kids. A very safe town, even though during the 70s and the 80s, the shadow of the Troubles in Northern Ireland certainly fell across the town, and it never divided the town, and I think it always felt like a safe place to grow up, and certainly is today. It's certainly a safe place to raise kids, and a wonderful place to come and visit, and certainly encourage anyone who's thinking about it to come on up and have a look at our wonderful town. It's a very historic town. I remember even going to school in the Christian Brothers, which is right in the heart of the town. Even on your daily trip from the Point Road through Seatown, past the quays and up through Seatown Castle, just on that daily trip to school, you'd pass half a dozen historic sites. So it was always an incredibly historic town. You could feel it right there. It's right there in the blood in Dundalk. It's very steeped in history. It's everywhere you look. There's old castle walls. There's interesting sites from the emergency. Wonderful Cuchulainn remains. It's a very historic town. And of course, when you go further out to the hinterland, you've got some incredibly ancient historic sites. So we grew up with a sense of that constantly, and those were the kinds of games we played as kids. I left the Christian Brothers in '87. Went to school in Dublin for a little bit. Always missed home. I'm always very fond of my hometown. I try now, even to this day, even in Los Angeles, I think fondly of it. Try and get back as much as I can. Try and support the town as much as possible, and that's why I'm urging anyone who's listening this year in 2013 to try and get up to Dundalk and pay us a visit. You'll get a very warm welcome this year, the year of the Gathering, 2013. So from John Moore in Hollywood, California, wishing you the very best in Dundalk. Happy Gathering.